Hello my loves, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my beauty inventory. This is something that I usually do in December after I film my... Oh, thank you for licking my armpit. That's new and gross, but okay. Oh, is that a good one? Is this a Freya show? Oh, don't, like, what are you doing? Oh my god. If you have never seen one of my beauty inventory videos, basically what I do is keep track of all of my beauty products across hair, skin, body and makeup. Once upon a time, my numbers used to be huge. They are getting better now. They're still, don't get me wrong, they're still pretty big. And I've still got a lot of places where I'm trying to work on things, but in recent years I have made a lot of progress and I'm super happy with that. We'll start with skincare. So you'll be able to see all of the categories. In the first column, you'll see the amount that I started with in 2023, how many products I finished, decluttered, how many new items came in 2024. And if you look at the far right side of the charts, you'll be able to see where those products, like the sources, where they came from, the new products. And then you'll be able to see my total followed by whether that part of my stash increased or decreased. So I think makeup remover, I want to do something about this. It's been pretty stagnant for a while. I don't use typical makeup removers. I probably always want to have one on hand, but for me, like oil cleansers and balm cleansers are where it's at. But some of the products that I have, or most of the products that I have in this category, are getting pretty old. So it is something that I want to focus on in 2025. And I am kicking off the year starting to pan a Shuamora oil cleanser. My normal cleansers and my scrubs, pretty much that's just like, that's all I've got. Like, that's it. What I currently have, I am currently using, and I will, like, they're almost done basically. The things that I have, two of them I actually purchased, was it last year? No, it was in the Singles Day. Is it Singles Day? I think it is. Singles Day sale at the end of 2023. And I used them all through last year and they're nearly done. So I'm in the market for buying new cleansers, basically. Scrubs, I don't have many and I don't use physical scrubs often these days. I prefer like an acid serum or an acid toner. However, I think I will always have at least one scrub in my life. It's got to be something that's super effective, that I know my skin responds well to, because sometimes I need that physical exfoliation. Again, my toners and acids kind of under control. I would say that the number that came into my life compared to the number that I finished up was it wasn't great. It was a little skewed. So I definitely need to probably focus on them a little bit more. Something that I was using in 2024 in place of a toner was just a normal face mist that was like in my makeup stash. And that is good because I was using up a normal face mist as like a hydrating step in my skincare, but it means that other parts of my skincare are being neglected. Serums, again, I feel like serums has gotten to a point for me where I no longer even need to track this area of my stash if I don't want to, because I use so many of them. Most of them were hyaluronic acid serums as well, or like hydrating serums. I purchased 3 of them myself, but I finished 9. A hydrating serum is a hero product for me. So, you know, I will always be buying them and I will always be using them because of how well my skin responds to them. And there's so many that I want to try. So, you know, I'm not really worried. Even if I bought 9 in a year, I wouldn't actually care because I know I'm going to finish them. Facial oils. This is actually an area of my stash that I've kind of gone off a little bit. I definitely still have some. I don't feel like my skin responds as well to some of them as it did when I had oily skin. I think my skin is just looking for something different, or maybe it's just that because my skin is like, I'm maturing, my skin is getting older, the things that I enjoyed when I was younger and I kind of default back to in my older years because I remember loving it, maybe it's just not suited to my skin anymore. I'm not really sure on that, and maybe that will change. Maybe I'll come across a facial oil that I'm obsessed with, but I do think that the ones that I have, I want to finish them this year. Moisturizers. Okay, this is another one where I really don't care how many I have because this year I finished 10. And I actually have 2 in my bathroom that are like, they'll probably be finished, if not by the end of January, sometime in February. So I go through a lot of moisturizers. It's a morning and night kind of thing for me. I used up a lot of moisturizers, but I also purchased a lot of moisturizers, and I think 2025 will be the same. Eye cream, it's another category that's really under control. I kind of have like the things that are tried and tested for me that I really love, and they still work for me to this day, which is fantastic. But I am still hunting for like the perfect eye cream. I've had some suggestions in the past, and I also did purchase some new eye creams. Did I do that this year or last year? I think it was this year. Or 2024, sorry. And at the time I was looking for hydrating eye products, but now I'm wanting the anti-aging eye products. Lips. Okay, we're talking about lip balms here. This has been out of control for years and years and years and years, ever since I started tracking my beauty inventory, and even before then. I think the only way I'm really truly going to tackle this is by decluttering some stuff. It is a part of my stash that is getting old, really old. To be fair, you know, I still have a lot of old products kicking around, and I'm doing my best to work on them and finish them up so that they are out of my life and I can move on to fresh things. But I don't know how I'm ever going to use up 28 lip balms. I don't think it's physically possible, not in a reasonable amount of time anyway. So I think this year what I'll be doing is you're going to be seeing lip balms in my project pan and stuff like that, and if anything at all is showing any signs of not being good when I open it, or if it's not giving me the results that I expect, going in the bin. I also do want to point out with this like category that there must have been a small discrepancy with my numbers last year. This can happen, like if you're doing the maths on these as we go through them and you're like, wait, that doesn't add up. There's always discrepancies in this because I'm tracking like, I don't know, I think I had just under 1,000 products this year. No, just over 1,000 products. Like, there's always mistakes, you know. I do this for like keeping myself accountable, not because I consider it like, you know, something that I need to be perfect at. I don't care if the numbers don't match up completely. I always find discrepancies from the previous year. There's a lot more in my makeup category, but we'll get to that. Spot treatments. I'm going to stop tracking this part of my inventory. So you won't see this come back in 2026 when I do my inventory, or do it at the end of the year. Just because I don't feel like it's necessary. All of my spot treatment, I've got one topical spot treatment, which is the 9% BHA from Paula's Choice. And I have some little like pimple patches, the hydrocolloid pimple patches. I don't need to track that. It's not important. These aren't really products that I'm buying. I did once upon a time, but I don't really suffer from breakouts anymore. So I mean, I do. I still get them, but they're not nothing compared to what I used to get. So I don't feel like this needs to be something that I'm staying on top of because I've got a problem with buying the products, or I've got an excess that I can't get through, or whatever. It's just not an issue for me. It's a non-issue. Sheet masks. Okay, so I would say with my sheet masks, at a glance, I think my numbers look pretty high. When we're talking about having 14 new ones come in and being left with 28 sheet masks, it seems like a lot. I also feel like my number of using 11 in 2024 feels low, but maybe not. Maybe that's accurate. When I look at the sheet masks that I have in my bathroom, I'm like, I could buy more. Absolutely. Especially like when winter rolls around, it gets quite dry and cold here. My skin can be a bit like, oh, I don't like it, give me more moisture. So that's typically when I want to whip out the sheet masks. But I really don't have that many. And I've got my project pan, which you guys should have seen by now, it should be up. And I have put in like my oldest sheet masks into that project to like finish them up. So this year I'm going to be finishing up my oldest sheet masks easily and moving into things that I bought just last year. So, or maybe also in very, very late 2023. So I'm feeling really good about that. That makes me happy. Face masks. This is another area. Actually, I should pull these out and put them in my project pan. That's what would be really smart. Let me make a note. So I have two face masks, and in this case we're talking about like wash off face masks. This is a part of my stash that I do not want. So I've got two, both of which, one I really love and one I really want to try, but I don't buy these products. These are all products that are like gifted to me. I might get them in PR. The only time I would consider it something that I purchased is if it comes as a gift with purchase for something that I purchased. How many times am I going to say purchased? Or if it's in like an advent calendar, beauty advent calendar or something like that. So I don't actively go out and buy wash off face masks because I don't like them. It's not that I don't like them. I can't be bothered. So I want to finish what I have and I want to get rid of this. I don't want to track it in 2025. If any come into my life, I think it will be one of those things where I put it straight in with my everyday skincare and I either finish it and use it or try it and declutter it if I don't like it. Finally, in my skincare category, we've got eye masks. I definitely do need to focus on this in 2025. This number looks so high because I have a box of like heated eye masks that I've counted each mask individually because I don't know. Why did I do that? I just did. Probably because they're like individually packaged and I just feel like if the number is high, I'm always going to look at it and it's going to be on my mind. I've got to use eye masks, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of tricking my brain into feeling like there is a sense of urgency in dealing with that. However, in saying that, it's been kind of out of sight, out of mind when I'm not looking at my inventory via this chart throughout the year. I'm looking at it via my actual spreadsheets. This kind of chart would be more helpful than just my normal spreadsheet. So maybe what I really should be doing is adding these charts to the, or maybe just adding the numbers that I'm starting the year off with to my actual spreadsheets, just as like numbers at a glance for me. That actually might help. Anyway, I have those eye masks in my project pan, so I do expect this to diminish. Another thing that kind of bumps this up is, you know, I love those tubs of hydrogel eye masks. Now, I don't track all of the eye masks in there individually, obviously, but I do have a lot of single use, like hydrogel eye mask duos. So I feel like it really inflates the numbers here, but also I will be perfectly honest, I have ignored these parts of my stash, not completely, but pretty badly in 2024. All right, let's talk about body products. So I'm pretty happy with how far I've come with body products. I don't feel like I have any super mega problem areas except hand cream. So let's go over it. Body wash, I finished 6 and I had 5 new ones come in. A lot of them are like deluxe minis from the Body Shop advent calendar. So that's, you know, that's okay. I have 11 in total, and I know that seems like a lot, but like I mentioned, a lot of them are minis and I reckon I'd finish them up fairly quickly. So I'm not too worried about that. Body scrubs, I actually want to try and finish up all of my body scrubs that I have this year. Not because I don't want any, I love them. And it's still something that I want to track, but they're all old and I want to work on getting fresh ones. Body oil, I don't know. I have a discrepancy here. Somehow, I don't know how I've obviously made a mistake last year. I know for a fact that I still have one, but I finished one and I decluttered 2 this year, and I still have 1. I only started the year with 3 according to my spreadsheet. So it's obviously, maybe I just like mispressed a number when I was typing in the numbers, or yeah, I don't know, made a mistake. Doesn't matter. I've got 1 body oil. I want to finish it in 2025 for sure. And again, I think I would stop tracking this part of like my inventory and I would just put it in with moisturizers if I did buy a body oil. Speaking of moisturizers, I do need to work on this. I had 14 new ones come in. Sounds bad, doesn't it? Again, a lot of these were Body Shop ones. I did purchase some were gifted to me. It appears that I used up 5 and I decluttered 1, and I'm left with 18, which is a pretty big increase on last year's numbers. But I'm just gonna see how I go throughout the year. I always use body moisturizer. I don't use them every single day, but like I always have them in my standard routine. I always put them on at least after a shower. I might not top up in between showers unless I feel like I need it. I'm going to see how I go in 2025 with body moisturizers. It's on my radar that I need to work on them. Hand cream. Okay, what the fuck is wrong with me? So I started out the year with 13 hand creams. I finished 3. I had 7 new ones come in. Again, lots of PR gifted items, and there was one that I purchased. I think it was a gift with purchase, and it's a huge one. It's from Glasshouse or Circa Home. I think it's Circa Home. Anyway, that'll take me a lifetime to get through. I need to pan some this year, okay? I will admit a lot of the hand creams that I have are like little ones, which is great. So I might actually get through some, but yeah, hand creams, big problem. Fragrance increased this year. I was gifted a whole bunch, which is lovely, and I'm not mad about that. My fragrance stash is at a place where I'm really happy with it. I still have a few that I feel like, you know, I'm happy to pan. I've got one that I'm panning this year that I've started. I've got another one that I feel like I would be happy to pan this year, but everything that I have, I just really enjoy it. I would like to explore more fragrances, but I don't want my stash to get out of control. Also, now back in Melbourne when I lived there, I didn't have a problem having a large fragrance collection because where I stored them was like perfect conditions. It was always dark. It was always like cool, but never freezing. And like, it was just great conditions to maintain their longevity essentially. Whereas here, I don't have anywhere like that to store them. It's hot as balls here half the year, and I just don't have that sort, like those sort of conditions to store them. So, and I don't have the space to like put them in a drawer or anything like that, at least not yet. Maybe sometime in 2025 I'll be able to work that out. But yeah, increasing my fragrance stash at this stage, I feel like I'd just be doing myself a disservice. I'm not looking to really decrease the amount of fragrances that I have. I'm just looking to enjoy my fragrances. Candles. I did all right with my large candles. I used up 7 and I had 9 new ones come into my life. A lot of those that I actually like purchased, and I had some gifted to me, I finished anyway, like straight away. So, you know, that's good. I do need to use up some of my mini candles. It hurts my heart because they are, you know, they're luxe, bougie mini candles. And I can't afford to buy stuff like that anymore. So it makes me sad that like, if I use them up, like that's it, they're gone. And I'm probably not, like, you get it. So yeah, I have a bit of a wah about that. But also, if I keep them around, they're just getting old. So I may as well finish them. All right, let's move on to hair. Look, hair is not too bad for me. Shampoo and conditioner, I think I have like enough, probably too many, but I'll get to them eventually. In these numbers for like hair and conditioner, some of them are like deluxe minis. So they're not going to take me months and months and months to get through. Hair treatments, leave-in and styling products, I do want to focus on in 2025. My issue here is that often when I get something new, I'll try it a few times and then I'll like put it away because I'm trying to like pan or focus on something else, and it takes me a long time to go through the products. So it's just sort of growing over the years. I think realistically what I actually need to do with my hair stash is not so much pan them, but kind of pull out everything and just start picking and choosing things to use and finding what is currently good for my hair and like enjoying them. I did that a little bit in 2024. I was still trying to pan hair products, and I am still trying to pan hair products in 2025, but I think I need to diversify a little bit in the way that I'm focusing on my hair products. Just try something a little bit different. So I'm going to see how I go with that in 2025 and see if that sort of has an impact on, you know, the amount of items that I have, whether it be that I absolutely become obsessed with something, use it every single day or use it every time I'm doing my hair and I end up panning it, or if I discover something where I'm like, I don't like this, I'm going to throw it away, whatever. Dry shampoo, also there's discrepancy with, I think, my treatments. I found some products that I think I'd missed on my inventory last year, or maybe even when I moved, I don't know. Dry shampoo, I don't think I need to track this anymore. I don't use dry shampoo too much. My hair does go through phases of being really oily, and I don't really know what is causing that. Like after I dyed my hair, it got oily really quickly for maybe about 2 weeks, but then it just stopped doing that. So I don't know what was that about. But dry shampoo, like I've got enough to get me through, and then I just buy something as I need it basically. I had a lot more of them. I decluttered most of them when I moved to Perth because like transporting them over here was just not worth it. Okay, let's take a look at makeup. This is a big one and it's a problem one. I do definitely have some categories that I'm doing really well on, but yeah, I've got problems. So primer, doing pretty well here. I don't use enough primer to justify buying these, even though I ended up purchasing 3. I do want to specify like one that I purchased, it's in my project pan, my 2025 project pan now. Another one is more of like a color correcting type primer, and one is actually like a sachet sample that came as a gift with purchase. Now, typically I would track my makeup samples separately, but I don't want to do that anymore because I find what happens is they just kind of float around and I never end up using them. So if they're on my actual like main inventory lists, I might actually use them. Eye primers, again, I'm slowly getting there with this. The problem is I feel like my numbers are a little bit inflated on this because I still have like the Too Faced glitter glue primer. I've got the Pat McGrath like kind of gel pen primer, and I consider them a little bit like specialty-ish products and I don't use them super regularly. But like if I take them away, then the primers that I have are pretty like standard and I really enjoy them. I definitely think like an eye primer takes me about a year, maybe a bit longer to get through depending on how often I wear makeup. And these days it, it takes me a lot longer. Yeah, it's not really something where I am actively looking to buy products. Sometimes I get them in PR and that's fine. Foundation, look, I'm doing just fine on foundation. 2025, I need to like go and buy some foundations basically. So I finished 3 and I decluttered 5 throughout 2024, and the 5 that I decluttered, like they were just old. So I'm left with 3 foundations. One of them, my oldest one, currently in my project pan. The other 2, one of them's almost finished, and both of them were purchased in late 2022. So they'll be finished in 2025 as well, and I'll be buying more foundations. Same as concealer, so I started the year out with 3. I decluttered all 3 of them and I bought 2 new ones. The reason why I decluttered what I had was because they were old and they just weren't doing what I wanted them to do. So I picked up 2 new ones, both of which I'm really happy with. One is currently in my project pan. I call that a win. Like I am so on top of that area of my stash that like it couldn't be better. Let's talk about powders and face mists. So powders, feel like I'm kind of getting there slowly. I have had a decrease on last year, which is fantastic. I genuinely feel like a lot of the powders that I own, for one, they're old. 2, I'm not sure that they're really suited for my skin at this point. I would have no problem like decluttering all of the powders I own and just go and experiment and buy new ones, but based on my past history with like purchasing habits and things like that, I don't feel that that would be a very clever thing for me to just jump into. I think it would be better for me to continue to use what I have, declutter anything that I don't like, and as my stash gets smaller and smaller, then buy 1 or 2 items as I feel like I have room for them in my life. So that's probably what I'm going to be looking at doing in 2025. Face mists, this is just an area where I need to focus. Problem with face mists is I have not been wearing enough makeup to like get through them basically. And they are quite large products. And if you're using them regularly, you can go through quite a bit of it, especially people like me who have really dry skin, which is a blessing in the, if you factor in that I'm trying to pan them. But if I'm not wearing makeup, then that's just useless to me. So there's that. I did have a decrease in this category though, which is good. Bronzer, not too much change here. So the increase in this category is actually the Soul Body Bronzer, which I had started using last year. I didn't add it to my inventory because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it and keep it, blah, blah, blah. And I did end up liking it, and then I never added it to my inventory. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of discrepancies if you are checking the numbers and doing the maths as we go in my makeup category. So I would just specify that a lot of it, I'm pretty sure, was just things that I missed last year because I was rushing to get this done. Not last year, because that's 2024. I'm talking about 2023. And I just think I've made a mistake with a lot of these. I've missed things, and that's fine. It is what it is. This year I was a lot more thorough and I think my numbers are pretty close to being accurate. Blush. Listen, oh my God, blush and highlight. Big problem areas for me. I don't like an intense blush. So when I'm applying blush, I use very little of it. So it takes me forever to go through them. I have so many of them, like I'll never finish them. It weighs heavy on my heart. Now I've got it down that I decluttered 8. I didn't technically declutter them. 3 of them were definitely decluttered. 5 of them were removed from my stash. They are Kaleidos blushes, and it's not that I'm not using them or I don't want them. It's just that I stored them with the rest of my Kaleidos things, and I'm taking them out of like my inventory numbers, because if I reach for them, it's going to be very infrequently. And I keep them because if the brand still sends me PR, and if they release blushes and people ask me to reference them, or if something looks familiar to me color-wise, I like to be able to reference back to them. If the brand ever stops sending me PR, I probably will be like, I would go through them, I would test out every shade, I would keep the ones that I love, I declutter what I won't use. So that's just gives you an idea of, you know, why I do that. It's just because there's so much. Highlighters, my God, how did I have an increase in highlighters this year? It's such a problem area. Again, I am going to try and work on this in 2025. They're going in my project pan. I'm just going to do my best. Yeah, it's a problem. I don't really want to talk about it. Face palettes. This is another one where I want to try and do something here. I do have a highlight palette in my project pan. I don't know how I'm ever going to like tackle all of it. It just seems so much. To be honest, it gives me a headache and I don't really have the answers for it, but I'm just gonna kind of take one day at a time. Brow colors. Thing about brow colors is, like, these days I really love a super skinny brow pencil, and I feel like the numbers there look quite high. But once you start using one of those brow pencils regularly, it really doesn't take all that long to get through them. So I don't really feel too bad about that. Brow setting products, look, I go through phases with these where I'm like obsessed with them and I use them every time I do my makeup. And then like I'll go a year where I use them like maybe half a dozen times. So it is what it is. Mascaras and mascara minis. So this year, what I've decided to do with mascaras, because a lot of them are old, I do have some mascara minis that I just got in 2024 and they haven't been opened. They're brand new and fresh. My goal with mascaras in 2025 is to use one each quarter and declutter it at the end of the quarter. It's what you're meant to do with mascaras anyway. You're supposed to get rid of them after they've been opened and being used for 3 months. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. That's not usually a rule that I follow like hard and fast, but I feel okay doing it since a lot of the mascaras that I have that are unopened are old. They're old anyway, so I may as well just get some use out of them and get rid of them. Looking over like black liners, pen liners, and colorful liners. There's certain things that I will always love, like a black liquid pen liner, a black pencil liner. These are staples in my stash and I'll always use them. I also find like dark plum shade liners are really beautiful. I do love a pop of color with a brighter liner. I don't wear it as much as I used to. I would like to have a go at changing that up in 2025. I have put a colorful liner in my project pan, so I'm gonna see how I go with it. I think one of the interesting categories here is my colored liquid liners. I had 18, I decluttered 18. I have none. I am no longer going to track this category. These were the JD Glow liquid liners. Now, a lot of mine in 2024, I noticed that some of them were going bad. They smelt funny. So I went through them all and I decluttered the ones that I wasn't feeling good about. And some of them also, like the formula, it was different. And then when I did my like collection overview at the end of the year, I noticed another one that smelled bad and I decided that was it. I'm not fluffing around. They're all starting to turn. I'm just going to get rid of them all. So they're gone. If I ever do end up with like a colorful liquid liner like that, I might just chuck it in with like colored gel liners or whatever. And I would definitely, like, this is a category where if I found something that like made my eyes tingle, you know, in a good way, like, you know, magpie eyes for me, like a glittery liner or a multi-chrome liner or something like that, and I had to have it, I have no problem buying it. I just don't want to buy a whole collection of them because let's not go back to that. Let's get into like eyeshadow type products and lip products. Again, big problem areas. I have been working on doing my eyeshadow palette testing series, which is going pretty well. It's kind of almost towards the end. Like I'm past the halfway point, which is really good. So as for eyeshadow palettes, like I had 83 and I decluttered 31 this year. I obviously haven't finished any up. I had 7 new ones come into my stash. Pretty sure they're all PR. I haven't actually written down my sources on the table that I'm looking at the moment. I have to do that when I'm editing. But I am pretty sure that they're all PR. So my numbers have gone down. I also will mention, like, I removed some Kaleidos eyeshadow palettes just like out of my inventory, but I still have them. And there was definitely a discrepancy with my numbers here from last year, but that's okay. Based on what I'm seeing at the moment, I have 70 eyeshadow palettes still, but like, how do I have 70? It's so absurd. To be fair, like going back, I think there was a stage where I had like over 200. It might have even been a higher number. I can't remember. I've come a long way, but like even just now, I feel like if I had 5 eyeshadow palettes, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a good number. But I have 70. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Yeah. Looking at single eyeshadows, this is also an area where I would like to somehow get some of these into a project pan and like use them and try to like minimize. But same with the eyeshadows, like I just, like the palettes, sometimes when I look at them, like I just can't bring myself to get rid of them because I'm like, you are so pretty. What happens if I get rid of you and then I regret it? And a lot of them are discontinued. Can't get them anymore. So yeah, it's a problem. I also have an absolute boatload of pigments. So it was a plan for 2024. I never got around to it. I want to do it in 2025. I've been looking at buying some sort of mixing medium or pressing medium for eyeshadows, and I want to press some of my pigments and see if I can make that work. Problem is, I've been trying to find like a mixing medium. All I can find are ones from overseas, and I don't want to pay like $25 shipping for a tiny bottle of like eyeshadow pressing fluid. It's absurd. So I feel like I need to dig deeper on that one and try and find an Australian supplier. But yeah, it's not that easy. Like when you Google it, Google's gone to shit. Don't even get me started. Just know that I am struggling to find it. Liquids and cream eyeshadows. This isn't really an area where I have ever been a big purchaser of these products. I just prefer a powder eyeshadow. I do have a couple. I'd like to have a play with them this year. Yada yada, you get it. There's a discrepancy. They were old products. Lips. So lip liners. I do feel like I need to work on this. Like just all of the lips. Okay, all of them. They all need to be focused on. I didn't do a good job at, you know, minimizing any part of that area of my stash. Liquid lipsticks, the reason why that number has gone down so much is because I had a lot of the Kaleidos Cloud Lab lip clay. Is that right? Anyway, I had a bunch of them in my inventory. I've taken them out of my inventory. I still have them though. I don't use them. I don't find them comfortable enough to use. I don't really use matte liquid lipsticks at all. I've got a few Too Faced ones that I really love. There's one in my project pan. I am trying. I'll use it here and there when I'm like filming a video, but I can't wear them on a daily basis. I really can't. So it made sense for me to remove those Kaleidos ones out of my stash, or off my inventory basically, because I mean, it simplifies the tracking process for me at the end of the day. But also they're products that like I'm not using. I keep them for reference. All right, last area that I track are my samples. I'm not going to go over these too in depth. I've just put up the tables for you. You can take a look at them. Anything that's highlighted in yellow are areas that I still want to work on this year. It's mostly areas where like I'm kind of low in my own, like my standard full-size products. So like cleansers, I'll get through a bunch of them. Moisturizers is probably like my big problem category in samples. I had a lot come in as gift with purchase last year, and I'm very low on my full-size moisturizers now. So I'll certainly get through them. So I'm not too worried about this area of my stash. I typically just like to have some samples kicking around for when I travel. That's like my big thing. So then I don't have to travel with full-size products. I do have to admit that I've got quite a few samples that are like, they're getting old, so I really need to focus on them this year. I did focus on a whole bunch that I worked on throughout the year, project panning last year, which really worked well for me. I'm probably going to do something similar to that this year, but I don't think I'll track them in project pan. I'll just sort of pull out a bunch that I know are getting old based on my inventory spreadsheets, and I'll just work on them throughout the year and make sure that I'm, you know, cycling through that old stuff. So anything new that comes in, I'll get to it sooner and it's not just sitting around. Let's go over my numbers overall. So this table that you're seeing on screen is going to show all of my different categories like skin, body, hair, makeup and samples. You'll see my 2023 numbers, so the numbers that I started with, how many I finished this year, how many I decluttered, how many new products came in, and my total that I'm finishing out with. Now, I did have a goal that I set myself last year. I wanted to have less than 800 products overall when I finished 2024. I did not get there. I missed the mark quite significantly. So with skincare, I started out with 160, I finished 47, I decluttered 5, and I had 43 new products come in, leaving me at 149 products. So I did have a small decrease there, but I feel like I can do a lot better on that one. Body care, I started the year off with 83, I finished 24, I decluttered 3 products, and I had 40 new products come in. A lot of that was beauty advent calendars. So that's, you know, a bit of a problem. But also a lot of them are smaller, like deluxe minis. Also, I'm pretty sure that last year, or 2023, I didn't get my advent calendar numbers onto my spreadsheet before the end of the year. So they went on for like the 2024 numbers. And I know for a fact that I did get my advent calendar numbers on for 2024 before I film this video. So I feel like there's a big, it looks a lot bigger and a lot more problematic than it is, because those numbers span over 2 years basically. Hair product, oh, did I mention I'm left with 93 products? So that's an increase of 10 products overall. Hair, again, there's an increase. I started the year out with 69 products. I finished 10, decluttered 4. I had 21 new products come into my stash, and I'm finishing the year out with 76. Makeup, I need to get on top of this. I don't know how to do it without like savagely decluttering my stash, and I am worried about how that's going to make me feel, because there's a lot of products in here that I just have, I struggle to let go of. So I started the year with 635. I've only finished 18. Most of them were foundations, for Christ's sake. I decluttered 121, which I think is still pretty good. I had 80 new items come in. To be fair, it's not accurate for the amount of products that came in 2024. Like I mentioned, there were a lot of discrepancies with my numbers from last year. So I've not tracked it that well. So fixing my inventory from like my screw ups in 2023, I'm paying for it now. Anyway, I'm leaving the year with 562 makeup items, and serious goal to decrease that number throughout 2025. Okay, we're almost done. The phone can be muted for a second. Samples. So I started out with 198. I finished 66. I decluttered 5. I had 28 new ones come in, and I'm left with 154. So my final numbers for 2024 inventory coming into 2025. I started out the year with 1,145 products. I finished 165. I decluttered 138. I had 212 new products come in, and I'm finishing the year out with 134 products. So like I mentioned, my goal for 2024 was to have my numbers under 800. So I missed my goal by like, if I'd finished or decluttered a total of 235 more products, I would have reached that goal, but I didn't quite get there. I am setting a goal for 2025, the end of 2025, and it's probably a little bit lofty, but I'm going to do it anyway. So my goal is to have under 100, Jesus, don't go there, under 750 products in my stash. That does include samples and stuff, so I can realistically, like, I could get there. In previous years, I have used up and decluttered a lot of stuff. I'm looking at my what year was this? Yeah, 2022 numbers. I finished 270 items that year. Granted, 108 of them were samples. I must have done like a sampled out or had a whole bunch in a project pan or something like that. And looking at my 2021 numbers, I finished 63 makeup items. How did I do that? What even were they? I can't even, it's too far back for me. Now, I don't expect to finish 60 odd makeup items, but I'd like to improve on my 18 of this year. That's kind of shitty. I'd like to try and finish up about 30 to 35 products, makeup products this year. I don't know if that's really realistic. Look, whatever. Like I said, lofty goals. We'll see how we go. But that's it. That's it for my inventory. I still have a long way to go with my makeup in particular. That's a problem area for me. I just find that it's very difficult to let go of it, because I have such beautiful fond memories of working with Kat, you know, and like being excited about a makeup release, and then we both purchased it, and then, you know, we try it out and we chat to each other about it, and it's just, I don't know, yeah, just memories. There's memories there, and it can feel just hard to let it go. I don't know, but I'm just going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying to minimize my stash mindfully, so that when I get rid of something, I'm not, you know, pining for it or anything like that, and I'm not running off and trying to find something that can replace it. Yeah, that's my goal. Just mindfully continue to minimize my stash until I get to a happy, comfortable place. And I mean, I'm making progress there. You know, my foundations, I've got 3. My concealers, I've got 2. That's great. Sure, there's not a whole lot of other areas of my stash that are under control like that, but we're getting there. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you track your inventory, if you know how many beauty products you've got and you want to share them. I'm all ears. I am curious. I also want to say a massive thank you to my channel members and everyone for hanging out with me today. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.